What do you say? Hey, what do you say we go ahead and get started? All right, let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. So, of course, I will say to you, good morning, top of the morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Awesome to see you, whether you're here live or watching the recording. I just so appreciate it. And we are going to get right to it. All right, so let's dive in. Let's get to it. Let's have some fun together today. Again, I am like extra jazzed up about this little thing that I have cooked up for you today, this little lesson I have concocted. I think you're going to get some value out of this. So today we're talking about mojo. The month's theme is mojo. We're focused on how to have mojo this month. On Monday, I took you through one of my favorite books called Mojo by Marshall Goldsmith. Yesterday, we learned from Chris Aronson about how to have mojo, how to start your day with high amounts of mojos. But today we're going to talk about the scenario, because we always talk about scenarios on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the scenario of what happens when you have nojo. So what's nojo? Well, nojo is the opposite of mojo, right? So nojo is when you're feeling down in the dumps, you're feeling drained, scattered in the fog, unfocused, kind of blah, just overall, like just not engaged, not jazzed up. That's nojo, right? We all know what it feels like to have nojo, and we know that nojo is no good. So that is what nojo is, right? So we just went through a quick little definition of what nojo is, and a massive cause of nojo right now is, guess what? Guess what a massive cause of nojo is? It is this. This thing right here is a massive cause. This is the culprit. The massive cause of nojo right now is this thing right here. It's not the only cause. I know there are some other things that cause it, but this right here, especially right now, this is a cause. And I can't tell you how much this is coming up in the one-on-one coaching sessions that I have, the people that I'm working with one-on-one, even friends of mine coming to me and saying, man, I have got to do something about this. Like, this is bumming me out. Like, this is bringing me down. Can you help me? Help me think this through. I need some strategies around how to manage this thing right here. And this thing right here, for sure, has a lot of value. Like, it's amazing what we can do with this device. And you can run a business from this thing, right? People can sign agreements. You can do marketing. You can talk to clients, of course. You can engage with people. This is an amazing thing, but also this can be a dangerous thing, because this right here, this can drain our mojo. Okay, so now before we get into strategies, so that this is where this is going to finish, is I'm going to give you some strategies about this thing. Before we do that, though, I came up with just this really fun metaphor, I think, and you all know how I love me some metaphors, and so check this out. So imagine I came to you for some personal advice, right? So I just came to you and said, hey, I need some help. I have this thing going on personally. I could really use your input. I could use your advice. I respect you. I appreciate your opinion, your perspective. I need some advice. So pretend I was having trouble with a friend, all right? So I came to you and said, hey, I'm having difficulty with this friend. I could use some help. And so this is what I would say to you. I would say, you know what? We've been friends for a long time. Here's the thing about me and this friend. Like, we go back. Like, we've been friends. We've been together for a long time. And we used to be like really good friends. We used to be really close. Sure, we had our moments. It wasn't all, 100%. It wasn't all rosy all the time, but mostly our friendship, it was really good, right? So we used to laugh together. We used to explore together. We used to, go see the sights together. Like, that was kind of our relationship, right? That's mostly what we did. It was awesome, right? We had this just terrific relationship, but lately, oh my goodness, lately, it's just a lot of drama, right? It's just a lot of drama with this friend. And I just miss the days when we used to have all this fun together, but lately, oh my goodness, it's just a lot of drama. We don't laugh as much anymore. Like, yeah, sure, every once in a while we'll have a chuckle, but we sure don't laugh as much anymore. And we don't really go explore and go see the sights like we used to. Right now, it's just mostly drama. All right, so imagine I say all these things to you about this friend of mine, and then let's pretend you start asking me questions, and maybe the first question you would ask is, so I'm curious, how much do you hang out with this friend? And then I would say, you know what? We hang out like all the time. We hang out all the time. So this friend, it's the first person I talk to in the morning. It's the first person I talk to right before I go to bed. We're together all day. We spend a lot of time together, a lot. And then you may ask, so I'm curious, do you spend more or less time than you used to? Like you talked about how things used to be, how it was all amazing and lots of laughs and exploring. Are you spending more time with this friend now or less? And I would say, actually, it's more. It's even more now. And you would say, so even though it's more dramatic, you're spending more time with this friend. I said, yeah, I'm spending even more time. Then you may say, I'm curious, so do you invite this friend to dinner? And I would say, oh my gosh, dinner? Well, not only dinner, this friend of mine comes with me to breakfast, at lunch, and yeah, dinner for sure. Like we hang out together through all these meals, all three meals we're hanging out together. And then you may ask this hard question. So did you ever hang out with this friend instead of hanging out with your family? Like instead of hanging out with your spouse or your kids or whomever may be at home with you, you ever hanging out with your friend more than them or hanging out with them instead of hanging out with those friends or family? You say, yeah, actually, unfortunately, yeah, yeah, for sure. I definitely hang out with this friend more than that, and instead of instead of hanging out with my family. So, what would you tell me? Like, I'm going through all these things, right? All these things about my friend, how it used to be great. It wasn't 100% great, but it used to be pretty much great. Now it's dramatic, spending even more time, spending all this time, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, all of my meals, even instead of my friends and family. What would you tell me? You would say, yo, dude, it's time for a timeout, right? You got to call timeout is what you would say to me about this friend. That's what you would tell me. So guys, I came up with this fun acronym. Timeout is going to be an acronym for the strategies, right? You already see the first one on there. I'm going to walk you through these, 7 strategies that I think are going to be important. And guys, it is so important right now. Like right now, this is important. I will tell you over the next few months, this will become even more important. There are things happening in the world that are going to become even more intense. And no, we're not going to turn a blind eye to it. We must be aware. We must square up to it. But boy, I will tell you the things that are going to be happening inside of here. The intensity level is going to get dialed up over the next 90 days plus. We need to be ready for that. And guys, we need strategies because we need to be operating at a high level. We need to be out there contributing. We cannot be getting sucked into the things that this thing can do to us. All right, so let's go. 7 strategies. Number 1, of course, is time. All right, so that first T stands for time. We need a time limit. All right, so just set a time limit before you fire this up. And of course, I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about your news feed, whatever news platform you engage with. Set a time limit so that you don't go down the black, never-ending hole, right? The black hole that never ends. Set a time limit. Now, I know people have like an egg timer, and they do that. That's a cool, clever idea. I like that. You could also keep it very simple. Just when you open it up, just look at what time it is, and then pick the time that's 3 minutes from then or 5 minutes from then, and just be aware of that time and just agree to yourself, say, hey, I'm going to turn this thing off in 3 minutes or 5 minutes. I'm just going to be aware of the time. It's whatever, it's 8:30. At 8:35, this thing's getting turned off, and I'm going to go back to what I was doing. All right, so set a time limit. Set that boundary, all right? So this friend of yours, this is not a healthy relationship. So we got to get some boundaries, and the first boundary is going to be all around time, okay? So T is time limit. I is, sorry for the little formatting mix up there. I is intention, all right? This one is a big, big deal, all right? I would argue an even bigger deal than time. I want you to have high intention before you ever open this up, all right? So before you ever open up your news feed, before you're looking at your social media, I want you to have intention about what's going to happen when you open it up, which is the opposite of the mindless scrolling, all right? It's the mindless scrolling that puts us into this mojo state, right? It's the mindless scrolling that just sucks the energy, that sucks the positivity, sucks the focus sucks the momentum out of us, right? When we're just mindlessly scrolling through the newsfeed with zero intention. So what does intention look like? It's like, okay, I do right now, I am curious to know what's happening in the world. I'm gonna go look at this particular news platform that I like, that I trust. I'm gonna go look at that, and you've already set a time limit. So that might be your intention to go see what's happening in the world. You go in with clear intention. And you may even add to that a better intention of, based on what I see happening in the world, I'm gonna think about how I can contribute, how I can serve. I'm gonna look at what people need right now. Sometimes I set the intention of, I want to go see what's happening in the financial markets. So I'll fire up a news platform that reports on the financial markets just because I'm curious to know what's happening in the stock market today. Maybe there was some news that came out. Maybe it's around home sales or new home starts or interest rates or whatever. Like, I'm intentionally going to learn about that particular thing. You can set intention around your friends, right? So maybe I'm intentionally going to go open up Facebook because I want to see what my friends are up to. Here's the one, I want to go see what my clients are up to. I'm going to intentionally looking for news about my clients. I'm kind of filtering out all the other stuff. I'm not going to stop on that. I'm not going to get bogged down in that. I'm specifically looking for client activity, or maybe it's one friend or one family member. Oh my gosh, I've kind of fallen out of touch with that person. I wonder what they're up to. So you go in with a super targeted approach. So be intentional. No more mindless scrolling, because, oh my gosh, that just sucks the life out of you when we do that, okay? M stands for meals, all right? This thing is not allowed at mealtime, all right? It just doesn't come to the table. So for sure not dinner, and not even breakfast, assuming there are other people around you at breakfast time, not lunch because you're around other people. Even if you're by yourself at breakfast time, you'd be better off like reading a book or reading an article or doing something like that, or journaling or writing thank you notes or personal notes. They're better things you can do during a meal than do mindless scrolling, right? Because when you're by yourself at a meal, it just leads to the mindless scrolling. So M stands for meals. Just don't invite the thing to the meal. E stands for evenings. Be conscious of how much you're on it in the evenings, and carve out time when you're not on it in the evenings, especially during mealtime. But don't let yourself do the mindless thing in the evening. Again, be intentional about it. Put it aside in the evening. Now, if you have a client that you're waiting to hear from, if there's a transaction that you're working on, I get it. If there's that pressing thing, but you know what? You can put it aside and then agree to yourself, all right, at 8:30, I'm going to check to see if I got that one particular email I'm looking for. So don't just keep firing it up to look for that thing. Like, put some boundaries around it, protect it, shift that energy to your friends and family, the people who are at home with you. That's the time, that's the sacred time that you are going to be so thankful for, that you are like really present with them in the evening, really connecting with them. So E stands for evenings. O stands for 1 hour, all right? And hopefully, by the way, I hope you're making notes on this. And I'm thinking about making like a little card, get all this printed up, and I'm gonna send it out to all of you. But at a minimum, take notes on all this. O stands for 1 hour. And specifically what I'm talking about here, I'm talking about the first hour in the morning and the last hour in the evening. What I want you to do, I want you to wake up your phone, wake up your device an hour after you get up. And I want you to put your phone to bed an hour before you go to sleep. All right, I have littler, they're not really little anymore, but they're 10, 11 now. And my kids at home. But you know what, now and certainly not before, when I get up in the morning first thing, I'm not waking them up, right? I like when they sleep in a little bit more than me. So same thing, let your phone sleep in an hour after you wake up in the morning. We don't want to be rousing our phone out of bed in the morning, because you know what happens when I rouse my kids out of bed super early in the morning? They get grumpy, right? So we can think of it the same way. Our phone may get grumpy, let the phone sleep, and then get the phone to bed an hour before you go to bed, just like I like to have my kids in bed and chilled out and asleep before I go to bed. So get your phone to bed an hour before you go to bed. Put it aside. Certainly don't bring it in the bedroom. We learned that from Chris Aronson yesterday. So that O stands for 1 hour. U stands for unfollow. Unfollow means that we're going to unfollow the people that set us off, right? There are people that are on here that trigger us. They're in our Facebook feed, they're in our news feed, right? Just unfollow them. It's a quick little process. It takes about 4 seconds to choose to unfollow someone. So when you see that person, you're like, no, not so much. Don't think so. That's not really jiving with me. That's not how I see the world. That's not really a contribution. That's not lifting us all up. That's not like a thought-provoking or interesting or constructive kind of dialogue that you're having right now. Unfollow them. Your newsfeed will be a much more friendly place. Unfollow the people that you should not follow. And then T, the last T stands for think, all right? So I want you to think before you post, all right? Think before you post. The simple filter is this. The simple filter is this a contribution? Just think of it that way. Is this a contribution? Is this contributing? Or is this just setting people off? Am I getting hooked? Am I taking the bait, right? Am I just going further down the rabbit hole? Or is this helpful? Is this a constructive thing? Is this a contribution? Think before you post. I have watched so many times people do a knee-jerk reaction post, and it comes back to bite them. Huge. It comes back to bite them with their friends, with their family, with their clients, because you come across as someone who's not thoughtful. All right, so just think before you post. Sure, if you want to put up a very thoughtful, thought-provoking post, do it, but just think before you post. So guys, that's it. Those are your 7 strategies for this thing right here. I want you to just really lock this down, really commit to this. We got to keep our mojo at a high level. We got to be performing at a high level. And if we get away from the things that I've listed here, it will take us off track. We will not be able to make the contribution that we all need to make. So follow the timeout acronym. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked it. And what we're going to do is tomorrow, we are going to have some fun. By the way, I appreciate all the comments that are coming through in the chat right now. It's awesome. What we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to do a workshop around your impossible goal, right? So this is really designed for people who haven't worked on theirs yet, or maybe they've started it, but they need to finish it. They need it, or just need to get it started, get it off the ground. Guys, we're going to do that tomorrow. Even if you've already feel like you have your impossible goal dialed in, still join tomorrow because you're going to get some value out of it. So I'm going to take you through an impossible goal workshop. You want to have your impossible goal worksheet with you, but I'm going to get that emailed out ahead of time just to make sure that you all have it so you're ready to rock and roll. And guys, I wish you a great Wednesday, all right? Have an amazing Wednesday. Thanks so much for being part of Alpha State. Follow the timeout. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you all first thing tomorrow morning. Take care.